I think it's no surprise to everyone that the main attraction at CES this year was NVIDIA. $3 trillion company, and it looks like Jensen's got the jacket to prove it and back it up. And this amazing post summarizing by Shruti Mishra, I'll put a link in the description to this if you want to go and watch some of this stuff yourself, covers 15 key points that she found throughout the presentation. It's about an hour and a half. Not going to go over all of it, but we'll cover key points. Now, the big thing to remember, this was the consumer electronics show, the end user, the people like you and me buying, the new 50 series GPUs, not the data center. That is where the big innovation, the big splash that NVIDIA makes. If you can look here, what we're talking about is a small fraction of their annual revenue. This is a Sankey chart showing Q1 fiscal year 25. The professional visualization, the gaming and automotive and robotics that was discussed at CES doesn't even compare to these massive data center GPUs and AI accelerators that NVIDIA wants to sell. And what could they be holding it for? Well, NVIDIA's own annual GPU technology conference that happens in March. So to think that Jensen talked about everything that is coming out is not correct. They got to save a little juice for their main attraction. So first off, I covered this in a more detailed video. It's this Project Digits, this $3,000 supercomputer. If you want to see more details about that, go check out that video. But really, it's really going to come down to licensing NVIDIA AI Enterprise to use a lot of their software, their NeMo frameworks, NIM microservices, whatnot, all their blueprints to help with the reduction of ideation to deployment of using AI models. That's the one thing NVIDIA is trying to do, create an ecosystem, get people locked in, familiar with it, comfortable with it. And there's a lot of pluses to that as far as the user experience that I won't go into, but it's really fascinating. The fact that they have GPUs that sell for about 1,600, their top of the line 5090 that's coming out, and this whole entire thing with 128 gigabyte of unified memory to run 200 billion, 400 billion parameter models. Like I have a 3090 behind me. I'm comfortably running 7 billion parameter models. That thing's got 24 gigabytes of VRAM. So this is just incredibly fascinating at this price point. And look how tiny this form factor is. And you can see Jensen with it in his hand, this tiny little thing. Unbelievable. But go check out that other video if you want to see more details about that and my thoughts on why you would or wouldn't buy it. So the next one, NVIDIA enhances 3 computer solutions for autonomous mobility with Cosmos World Foundation models. A lot of stuff around autonomous robotics. They have their Project Groot paired with Omniverse, which is their digital twin platform, where it's really making it easier for individuals to have autonomous robotics and driving. And so a lot of that, I'll exit out of that, is what the big focus was. Here's NVIDIA Cosmos. One thing to be sure to note is that NVIDIA themselves aren't creating and training and developing. Well, they are to an extent, training, fine-tuning. But there's a lot of using the industry-leading models, foundation models, to help build upon their own technology and create this more seamless ecosystem. So it's not so much that NVIDIA is necessarily leading the charge on creating models like Claude and GPT and Gemini and whatnot, but they're creating an ecosystem to, again, make it easier for enterprise or individuals to create things that are of use. And that's what NVIDIA Cosmos is, and that's what these blueprints are. More blueprints like this one, early access to NVIDIA AI blueprint for video search and summarization. It's just consolidating it, packaging up in a nice, easy, supported system on top of NVIDIA hardware to make individuals like ourselves given the ability to do less of the support, less of the building, and more of the using of this technology. And this is where I'm kind of jumping around because a lot of this was spoke out in detail by Jensen, including this partnership with Aurora. And I have it here talking about Aurora Continental NVIDIA partner deployed driverless trucks at scale. Of course, as far as autonomous vehicles, I think Tesla comes to mind. They've got here Project Dojo here in Austin, Texas. They're doing all of their own training. But what is everyone else going to do? Does everyone else have the talent, the technology, and the ability to do so? Well, NVIDIA wants to figure out ways, and they are working with Tesla as well. And I think Jensen even has ownership within some of the ventures with Elon Musk, but also how do we get other people to get into this world of autonomous driving? Well, let's, again, user experience, customer experience, let's make something much easier. Next up, okay, drive Thor. Thor has been around for a number of years. It was on the Hopper architecture. Now it's on the Blackwell architecture. And same with Drive Orin. This is just, again, giving the latest and greatest to the hardware paired with the software for companies to build autonomous driving. Same with Drive Hyperion. Now, there's this big agentic AI movement. I always try to reiterate, so AI assistant versus agent. And it's important to note the differences, because much of what we use day to day is assistive AI. We read information, we use a GPT model, we have an input, creates an output, and we ourselves determine what to do with that information. Now, agentic AI, on the other hand, is going to perform the task on behalf of the user, and a lot of autonomy that is built into that. I have my reservations on the progress of agentic AI. I think some of it needs to be reliant upon the development of AGI, artificial general intelligence, because there's a lot of reasoning. What happens if there's an error within a process? How do you handle that? But if you kind of just isolate a automated process within something more elementary, perhaps you can deploy agentic AI much quicker. Then, of course, my lawyer brain goes to the side of liability. If an agentic AI system makes an error, who's ultimately liable? Is it the company? Is it the system? Is it the developer? That's where we kind of get all in circles. So I think other than the technology, the hardware that NVIDIA is building being the bottleneck, I think there's some outside sources. However, if I look, where is it? Somewhere around here, I had an article pulled up and I'll search it. So Jensen Huang AI agents. He believes 2025 is the year of AI agents. He's not alone. I think there's a lot of back and forth. I'm always going to be more on the skeptical side. But he believes that the IT department is going to be kind of the HR department of these AI agents, managing their tasks, doing an analysis of their efficacy and whatnot. And that he believes his company is going to be like 50,000 employees. I'm trying to find the direct quote. Yeah, here we go. Huang has previously said that he wants NVIDIA to be a 50,000 employee company with 100 million AI agents. That's going to be a lot of juice, a lot of power. And the big thing people are wondering about is what is the ROI on generative AI in general? And that has to equate to AI agents because it's using generative AI. So those were the big themes. Here's Project Groot about robotics, NVIDIA Mega Omniverse Blueprint. Omniverse is the digital twin modeling that is used in collaboration with some of these other ones. You make a digital environment, which is not just a 3D model. It's something dynamic using real world physics that replicates something in the real world. It is a legitimate digital twin, and Omniverse is the big go-to in the enterprise. And then the Nemotron models, a lot of, so the NIM microservice enabled AI agents to any accelerated system using Llama, Nemotron language models, and Cosmos. So the big thing here, Llama, that's a Meta foundation model, and then Cosmos is a third party as well. And they're doing optimization, quantizing these models, making them more easier to deploy for users. Then we have Omniverse Sensor RTX, AI foundation models for RTX AI PCs. I think some of this stuff, interesting technology. I don't know how much people are going to actually care as the end user. And then lastly, of course, the 50 series. And this is the great thing about all of this money that the enterprise is putting in gets looped back into the research and development with a big focus on building better hardware for the enterprise. but us as the end user get to benefit because all this Blackwell technology and whatnot for optimizing how many computations can be done as far as using AI workloads. Like this is going to have the 5090 is going to have 32 gigabytes of VRAM versus the 3090 or even the 4090, which has 20 gigabytes of VRAM. So we can do more with more efficient utilization of power. I thought I had saw that this was actually going to be around $16.99, but it looks like it's $2,000. And that brings the point too. This is $2,000 with, at least with their list price here for the 5090. But then of course at the top with their Project Digits, they have a $3,000 monster AI PC that, well, I guess monster, it's very little, for $3,000. Again, it comes with AI software that you have to purchase the licensing if you want to get full use out of it. So that's the big overview. Again, this was the Consumer Electronics Show. I'm really excited in a couple months to see not only the presentations that NVIDIA has done, but things like my company that I work for will be there doing some presentations, and anybody else that has leveraged NVIDIA technology for innovation, thought leadership. So exciting times. I think 2025 is going to just continue on that trajectory of amazement.